So before all of that, let us start today's prayer from Archana from Chinmaya Vidyalaya Katakada will be presenting the prayer for us today.
Varanasyam Hemavarnam Mangalakaram Manoharam Gauriputram Ganasevyam Vignarajam Namamyaham.
Thank you. Thank you, Archana. I think that set the tone for today. And today we also have with us a very special person with us. Manisha Kimlani ji is here, the CEO of the CCMT Central Chinmaya Mission Trust Mumbai. And she has been contributing in a big way. She is a very active member of the education cell and has been guiding us in many big ways. And one very important thing that we are all, the schools are getting, enjoying the benefit of all the corporate social responsibility benefits is all under the dynamic leadership of Manisha ji. It's happening in the way we are benefiting. The schools are getting whatever infrastructure they need, the children getting scholarships, all has been steered by Manisha ji, and we are very, very thankful to her. She, amongst her busy schedule, she has given us few minutes here. She's going to address us from the Kolwan, where she's attending a camp, busy in a camp there. And I think it's we are fortunate to have you, Manisha ji amongst us. And I'm sure it will be a great inspiration for all of us to receive your guidance before we start the day's program. Over to you, Manisha ji.
Hari Om, everyone, and welcome to your fourth session, I think, on Vidya Vritti. And I think hearty congratulations to the education cell for coming up with such sessions on how to empower our teachers. I think all of us have gone through school, and all of us will always remember one or two teachers that have had a very strong impact in their growth in their school, in their life. So I just want to say that the role of a teacher is most important. It is really very, very important. And today I saw the topics that you all are covering. It's great. And like Swami Anukulananji had said in one of your sessions earlier, this technique of learning from one's peers is a great way because it gives you all a chance to reflect, study, and then share what you have learned with everyone else. So this is a great technique. So really congratulations to the education cell for coming up with this. I just want to cover a few pointers on, because we are all either Chinmaya Mission schools, that is Chinmaya Vidyalayas, or Chinmaya Vision schools. So our inspiration, our source is Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayanand. So I thought I should cover some points on what we can learn from him to implement in our lives, particularly for all of you as teachers in our Vidyalayas. So, of course, as I said, the teachers are very important. Not only do they, form an individual, not only are they responsible for how an individual grows, but they are also finally responsible for the structure of the society of their times, because an individual forms the society. So what the society becomes is also very much dependent on what the teachers teach. So that is also very, very important. Now, some of the pointers that I thought that we should keep in mind from Puja Gurudev's life: students should be guided to always learn in life. This is something that we saw from Puja Gurudev. He was always learning in whatever he did. So this is something that we should try and inculcate amongst the students, that they should keep learning. Every opportunity they get, they should keep learning. Then and also, when they're learning, a higher purpose or a higher goal should be there in our lives. When we have a higher goal or a higher purpose, and we dedicate our lives to that higher goal or higher purpose, then that selfishness of action goes away. And then that higher dedication gives us the purity of thought, clarity of thinking, and it gives us dedicated action, and we can accomplish what we want. So the teachers have to try and inculcate the students to have that little higher goal in life. They must find a higher purpose or goal. Besides their own income, they must think about society. And that is why what y'all are talking about, responsible humans who not only care for themselves, but care for society, care for community, care for the nation, care globally. So how they become global citizens. So that one point. Then also how they align with nature. That is so important, that we care for all jivas around us. Then we are really truly global citizens. And finally, if we are really truly, if we have the values, then we can actually become counselors, counseling people around, because then there is clarity of thinking. And then once the clarity of thinking is there, alert living is there, then the correct action comes. So this is all the role that I think, the responsibility that the teachers have. But the best way for a student to learn is to see how the teachers behave. It is said even in the Bhagavad Gita that everyone follows the one who is Shrestha. Yad yad acharati Shrestha. So whatever a person does, a role model does, the students follow that. And for all the children in our schools, the teachers are their role models. So unless we ourselves are not able to live to that, we cannot teach the students to do that. So first, all of us have to follow what is being taught. So that's the second thing. Third, I would say is that Puja Gurudev always encouraged all of us to think independently, to discover everything for ourselves. And that is what even today's education policy is doing. It's not just rote learning, but to try and encourage independent thinking among the children. So I think in the teaching that is done in the schools, that should be encouraged. And finally, the result of knowledge should be humility, not arrogance. If humility is there and the correct attitude is there, then everyone will succeed in whatever we wish to do. Having the correct goal, independently thinking, getting the clarity of thinking, having a then the action is dedicated, and living a life of humility. I think if all of us can do that and inculcate that in the students, then the students will become responsible global citizens who will be aligned to everything around them, and will actually become counselors rather than those requiring counseling. So I wish you all the very best in the good work you all are doing. I always highly regard teachers, and I wish we would have more teachers in the country. Please encourage more students to take up this most noble profession. My gratitude and humble prostrations to all the teachers who have assembled today, and my best wishes to all of you in the good work you're doing. Thank you for having me here with all of you. It's a great honor for me. Hari Om.
Thank you, Manisha ji. I think it was wonderful. You put it all together so beautifully. And yes, our teachers are coming out with very beautiful ideas, and they're presenting it so beautifully. And I like the point that peer learning is being nurtured here in this forum. That's the very purpose of this forum, is to learn from each other. We invite speakers when we have orientation programs and all of that, goshtis and all of that. But I really enjoy this Vidya Vritti, because it's our own teachers coming out with their own perspectives, and they come out with brilliant ideas for all of us to learn. I request all the teachers to make some note of it and ask some questions to the people. That's when the learning will be complete. So we have today, the first session is on the role of counseling and the importance of counseling in our schools. And I'm sure you will agree with me. Today, I don't know what errors we have done, the British education system or whatever we have done. So in the past, that today children are stressed in education, which was never there. stress was not a term. It's come into the dictionary of education system very last, I think over a decade, this has come in there. Otherwise, we never had stress at all. Though the Britishers gave this education system, we all did it in that pattern. But the society was not that competitive, or the parents had understood that we also studied. It was not only studies, it was also studied. I always say this, the Tata Steel, they have a tagline. They say that we also make steel. So same way, we also studied in school. It was not only the study is the focus and the marks is the focus and competition is the importance. That's where, I don't know when we got into that kind of a situation, but there's no question about talking about it. We have all grown into all this, whatever today we are facing, we have grown into it. So it's not established by somebody. We have somehow grown into this condition. So the role of counselors is playing a vital role. In fact, like each one of us should become a counselor. A teacher, the main, actually we have in our B.Ed program. Do you agree with me that we all studied the psychology, compulsory topic in education training B.Ed and the M.Ed program is the educational psychology. We've studied about how the motivation can work, how reprimanding can happen in the minds. We've studied all of that, but unfortunately, it is just remaining in books that we sometimes find it difficult. So, but going to speak on it, we have a very efficient person here from the Mahatma School. We have Mahatma's 13 vision schools today up with us, and we have a Mahatma School is one of the very, very promising school and looked up school in Madurai, and we have Miss Ria from there, a counselor. She is going to take us through the ideas of the role of counseling and what all details about it. I request Meena to introduce Ria, and then we can go forward.
Hari Om, Mama. Thank you. Hari Om to everyone. So just to know what Ria is, a small introduction. So Ria is the student counselor at Mahatma Global Gateway, and she's a passionate student counselor who transitioned from a career in human resources to focus on mental well-being and student development. She has a master's degree in MSW, Masters in Social Work, and a deep commitment to guiding young minds, and she has been instrumental in enhancing student self-acceptance, emotional resilience, and decision-making skills. At Mahatma Global Gateway, she plays a key role in mentoring students, providing psychological support, and equipping them with tools to handle academic and personal challenges effectively. The approach focuses on problem solving, emotional intelligence, and holistic student growth. As for her professional experience, she has been a student counselor. She continues to be a student counselor at Mahatma Global Gateway, where she provides counseling and emotional support. She helps students develop problem solving. She conducts workshops on mental wellness and personal growth. And she's also a human resource professional. That's some exercise that she's done in the past, where she's help people gain experience in HR before transitioning into counseling, as she has done right now. And her notable contributions are she's organized mental wellness programs for students, guided students through academic and personal challenges. She is also advocated for student mental health initiatives. And over to you, Ria, to learn more about the role of counseling.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And good morning to every one of you. And I thank each one of you behind this big platform for providing me this opportunity to share my perspectives. And because it's a very surprising note for me to invite young minds and to listen to our perspectives also. Thank you so much for that. So moving on to the presentation. Yes. Thank you, ma'am. So I would like to start with the sentence which is a notable thing in my entire life. It is a human with strong mind is a successful human at the end. So counseling is a transformative process which helps an individual to overcome obstacles, face challenges with a lot of courage, and fosters personal growth. So impact of counseling in schools is a topic that I'm going to deal with today. And I wanted to share a few points, and I split them into 3 core areas, which are the emotional well-being of a person, rational well-being, and a physical well-being. So before stepping into the PPTs and the pointers that I made, I wanted to know what is emotional well-being to your understanding. Like, how can we tell a human is emotionally strongest? Just few points, one or two, you can share your thoughts.
In the chat box, you can type.
Yeah. It need not be it's not a right or wrong answer. It's your perspective. So no hesitations or nothing. Just tell your points so that people can know about your perspectives too.
Yeah. So her question is, what do you understand by emotional well-being? Am I right? Yeah, being happy. Sindhu says being happy.
Being happy,
Handle joy and
handle
sorrow.
joy and sorrow at the same level.
Yeah.
Okay. Stable in thinking process. Love towards others. Okay. So thank you for the responses, and everything aligns with the emotional strong person. But the one accurate answer is posted by Aarti Anand, ma'am. Handling joy and sorrow at the same level. Yes, as a human, an emotionally strong person means it's not dealing with only the positive emotions to the fullest. No, it's about balancing both the positive and the negative emotions equally so that we experience all the ranges of our emotions and feelings. So when it comes to emotional well-being, it includes a positive balance of pleasant to unpleasant effect, which is the feelings that we experience in a day-to-day scenarios, the emotions that we tend to avoid. How many of you, if you feel yourself very low or sad, how many of you stay at the moment and get through that sadness or get through the possessiveness that we handle or get through the frustration we handle? No, we don't, because it makes us to feel very low. It pulls us down and we lose our grip over the entire day. But is that a healthy habit? No, it's not a healthy habit. We should get through it. We should improve our tolerance and we should experience the unpleasant emotions also. When we strike this balance, we consider to be as an emotional well-being person. So when it comes to students, when we see it from their perspective and from their age, everybody are no more keenly towards the happy faces, no, being very happy, fun, being very hyperactive, and even if we scold them, in a very a little mild tone, they burst into crackers. Like, how can ma'am scold? How can she can tell this, that, and so. So they miss that way to feel the negative emotions at a very young age, and it's a very stressable point to make is we have to introduce them to such situations so that they know how negative emotions make them feel at that young age. It need not be a very serious situation, but rather teach them to handle such situations. If some authoritarian person scolds them or gives them advice, we have to guide them on how to take it into a learning. Rather, it shouldn't be avoided. So this is how uh, uh, we have to teach students on to balance both the pleasant and unpleasant feelings. And the second point is a cognitive appraisal of satisfaction with life in general. The cognitive appraisal is nothing but acknowledging our life and feeling grateful for the things that we are experiencing. As adults, we keep on running with our works, 9 to 5 works or any other works we are in, and we forget to notice and acknowledge the little things that made us happy or the little things that taught us a lesson. So for us, it is a very difficult task, and for students, they have a lot of time more than us, but they don't know how to acknowledge certain things. So it's the best way, right way to teach us, and they are in the right age to learn that, which will help them to grow into a better individual, and this will make them emotionally a stronger person in future. How can we promote this emotional well-being? The first is mindfulness. As I said, we should be aware of the situation that is running around us and notice every single little thing that makes us feel happy or sad. So mindfulness can be done in schools, like the daily journaling will help. In our school, lower grades have a journal book where little kids write down what made them happy or what happened in the school. This is how practice. Mindfulness promotes the balance, the striking balance between the negative emotions and the positive emotions. Next is the gratitude. So, of course, humans feeling grateful or expressing the gratitude to anyone or to anything, we forget. It's not a fault, but we are in such a cycle where we are more keenly towards our professional growth and we are forgetting to personally develop ourselves and giving a lot of attention to our mental health too. So feeling gratitude and being grateful for little things hardly takes only a word, thank you. But last one is the yes, the last one is the positive self-talk. So personally, I'm practicing this self-talk.
So in the meantime, can I have talk to me about how many schools have counselors? How many of you have counselors? You can just raise your hands if you have a counselor. Not if you don't have one, you can put it down. And you have to have your videos on, otherwise I won't be able to see. Yeah, Gayatri says no, and Nilesh says yes, Arya Gurukul has. And who else? Shobha ma'am has. All the schools have, ma'am? Trivandrum, all schools have counselors? Unmute yourself, Shobha ma'am. Rajalakshmi ma'am also says you have a counselor, fine. And Devaki says no. It's a vision. So Chinmaya Vidya Mandakalatur, right? Mandakalatur doesn't have one. I know that. So how do you handle? Anybody would like to speak? How do you handle if there are some situations? Who handles your problems if children go into mental trauma or things like that? How do you handle it? Anybody can unmute and speak?
Yeah, Hari Om, ma.
Yeah.
Hari Om. Ma, I used to handle myself the issues
Okay.
of the children because I have done my course in our Vishwavidyapeeth guidance and counseling course during COVID time with
Yeah.
Pramod ji. So with that, I can able to manage to some extent, or else I will get the guidance from other counselors of our own branches.
Okay. Yeah, Tamarai Pakam has that. Some of us, we have our, like CARS, we have our Swamijis and Brahmacharis. They help a lot in talking to children and all of that. It works well. And also, I can you put it in the chat box? What is the major problem that we have from mental stress for children? What is the cause of this mental stress in children? How many of you, our schools, what do we have as a problem? Just 1 minute, Ria. Let me just finish. I'm asking them a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the cause for the mental stress children have? Common ones. You can unmute and speak or put it in the chat box. Family conflicts, yes. Adolescence, exam fear, yes, exam fear. Peer group pressure and family conflict, age-related relationship problem, exam, peer pressure, and all of that. Most of the time, it is what do they say? It's related to your family conflict, gender specific, parents' expectations, self expectations. Yes, I think this is really a beautiful list of things. That is, I always feel that we have to start with this. This is the starting point for bullying family. So. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you so much. Parents' expectations are too much. No counselor in GVK Chinmaya school. The change in the social structure and things like that. Fine. Thank you. Thank you for your inputs. Now, you know what? Actually, I think the most important thing is we have to start with this point. Every school won't have all of these things. In common, there will be certain things which will be common, prevalent in most prevalent stress points for the children. So once we address that, when we have these kind of, like, so for example, family problems, family conflicts is a major problem in your school. I think a lot work has to be done with the parents. We got to do continuously talking to parents, counseling parents, calling them to school, interactions with them. That could be a very important role. If you feel bullying is a major problem, whole school needs to address it in a very beautiful way. We have to have an anti-bullying policy, and the teachers, the principal, everybody need to completely understand what is the policy, communicate it to children, communicate it to the new children, communicate it to the parents. So if that point, that can be addressed. So every issue, if you take it up, and peer pressure, exam stress, these are all, exam stress is something when children understand that it is not just for examination we are studying. You have to bring in this concept right from kindergarten, not just worry about marks. like we can appreciate children for many other things other than just getting marks alone. So children know that my being good is I'm a helping student, so I'm being acknowledged. So these kind of ideas, I think together, those schools which do not have a counselors, at least, even if you have a counselor, making her as a part of the team, we need to identify the areas where our school needs, what are the issues in our school, and set up a target program for it, target procedure for it. That will really the beautifully it can set right things. At least a major chunk of it will get addressed. And some schools have this girl-boy relationship problems, so you got to bring them clarity into that also. We cannot not talk about it. We have to openly discuss about it. Yeah. So these are some ideas you can think about it. Yes, Ria, you can go ahead. Hope you have sent it to Meena also. We cannot have interruptions in between. Okay, please go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Sorry for the network issue here. So the last thing is the positive self-talk. As I said before, I was practicing this since my childhood without realizing that this is a technique which will help me to emotionally grow into a stronger person. Many students here are doing the self-talk, but without realizing that this is a powerful technique where we can handle our emotions even more wiser. Because self-talk promotes you to identify on what emotions are you in. And many here, even we feel at times, not to express any negative emotions explicitly to another person because it will make us very bad. This idea is also present in the students, and they feel reluctant to express themselves. But this self talk, when we talk to ourselves, it will nurture us even more by taking out every negative emotions out to ourselves. So when we nurture ourselves better, we'll be able to nurture others too. So this is one powerful technique to strike a balance between the emotions that we feel. And moving on to the next arena is the rational well-being. So rationality is about using your brains in a proper way. As humans, we are both emotional and rational beings together. So we are like 50-50 only, not completely emotional or rational. No, either of us, we have a dominant emotional code or a dominant rational code. That's it. Every humans have both these things. But majorly, we are stuck with the emotional well-being, and we make decisions out of emotions, and that will result to a lot of failures, and we cannot accept it in a proper way. Acceptance goes down, tolerance level goes down when we take decisions on emotional quota. So what is rationality? It is about thinking all the pros or cons before doing anything or whatever that it is. It can be based on the exams that we prepare, or it can be choosing a job, or it can be choosing a relationship. Whatever it is that you're deciding on, any part, little part or a very big part in your life, rationality plays an important role. And when we take a decision based on a rational thing, it will end up in a success. Even though if it fails, we can prepare ourselves to move forward in a very quicker way. Our resilience will be built on the rational mind. So what is a rational decision making? As I said, before we end up in deciding and choosing something, we have to know what are the pros and cons of the matter. And after that, the major thing that we miss is we forget to form alternatives. We only stick up to one solution or two, plan A or plan B. No, that is not enough. As we all know, our life is very unpredictable or uncertain. Situation are also such. So we need lot more alternatives, and always prepare our mind to know what is the worst case scenario that we might end up in, and be prepared for that too. When you train up the mind to the extreme percentage of the risks, the process will be way more in ease, and it will be very smooth enough. So are we teaching this to students, or are we introducing such things to students, is the question here. So we are more concerned to academics and life skills. Yes, that's a very good point. But are we helping them to make good decisions out of it? No, we don't. And we are not instilling these decision making processes into their academics, or into their social skill part, and so. So every counseling session of mine will include this scenario-based learnings. I will give them a situation. It will be a very, even though it is a very fantasy-oriented situation, they come up with a lot of alternative solutions. So I introduce them one situation, but I get back 30 different alternative and 30 different solutions to that specific problem, which also is a benefit for them. Now, even though if I put them in a real situation like that, their mind is ready with 30 different solutions and situations, which indeed will make them a very stronger student and a stronger individual. So rational, well, how to promote this, and how to make the student even more stronger person is always focus them in problem based learning. You have to assign them a problem, and we have only responsibility to guide them to make them formulate a lot of alternatives for themselves. It might be right or wrong, but that's okay. We can help them to guide, and we can help them to form such alternatives. So problem based learning is the one thing that we have to follow in every classes, in every subjects also. Next, promoting physical well-being. So we have seen emotional and rationality. It all comprises with our mind. So what happens to our physical well-being? So anima sano in corpore sano. It's a very common Latin phrase which tells that a sound mind and a sound body. When we have a healthy body, we have a healthy mind. So how many of you here work out in a daily basis? Workout as in it's not hitting gym, or no, it's not like that. A basic walking, a basic stretch, or basic cardio, or other than that, how many of you feel that you work out in a daily basis? You can answer in chats, even yoga, meditation, whatever it is. How many of you are spending a quality time to improvise your physical body too? Walking, yes. Weekly thrice, that's great. Okay. But many of us are here, even including me, only after I had I when I felt like my body is very weak, and when I became severely ill, I started to focus on my physical body in the first place. So before that, are we giving equal importance to our physical health? No, the answer is no, because again, we are carried up with a lot of works. Similarly, now at present, even in my school, it happens. Whenever I call them for games period, many girls, go sit under the shades and talk, because they don't want to get into the ground, or get that exposure to the sun and play and sweat and all, because they tell that, no, ma'am, I'll feel very tired. I have this pain, that pain. They give a lot of excuses, but no other students get to know what are all the benefits when you do exercise, when you stretch, flex. How can your body react, and how that healthy body will reflect into a very sound mind. So I had a recent session with all the 11th and 12th grade on sound body and sound mind, where I introduced them on the eating practice. So per day, how many calories, how many protein, how many quantity of protein and fat should be included in a daily diet. So when I asked them what is protein, fat, and carbs, many responded yes, but they don't know on how many quantities we should include in a daily basis. So this helped them to recheck their diet and recheck how many junk foods are they consuming in a daily basis. And this helped them to stop. And every session of mine will have a icebreaker activity which is purely physical. It's a basic, it can be very basic activity. Ask them to jump, run around the classes, or stretch and flex. So this will induce a lot of hormones inside our body, which will make our mind very active and open to receive all the things that we are teaching them. So this is it. And with a proper physical activity on a daily basis, it will improve our stress management techniques also. So with this, I conclude that impact of counseling in student comprises of all three factors. It is not only counseling only, it doesn't deal with only the mental health and so, but it comprises of everything, the emotional, rational, and well-being. So every schools should have this counseling aspect, and this will definitely help the students to versatile in all the three areas that I projected you before. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ria?
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
very, the techniques are all, you have brought it out so very beautifully. I like
Thank
this
you.
very important point that you mentioned. The body and the mind go together. There is a tendency for people thinking, only working on mind is important, and they think, why am I getting into stress? But a healthy
Yes.
body complements a healthy mind. I think it's very important. Physical health cannot be ignored at any point of time. The children need to, right from small age. And you all mentioned a lot of points for stress. Why children getting into stress? You said bullying, this, that. But I would say even the health is a problem. Health is a very important, because today in India alone, under the age of 14, 30% of the children are obese. They are eating junk food. Food has an impact on the mind. So we can't ignore that. It's like a hardware needs to be also good. The body has to be good. Then only the mind can come out with positive thinking. Healthy body is related to healthy mind. We have been talking about it. So something very fundamental we can work on is regular good habits, regular eating, keeping body clean and neat, and keeping, when the body is clean, mind also becomes kind of clean. At least you won't have negativities in the mind. So I think that's a lot, very important aspect is body cleanliness. And also for teachers, we need to have a healthy body also. Unless we have healthy body and healthy mind, we cannot get good any contribute to the children. How do we do it? How many of us do exercises? How many of you we do meditation? How many of us do right practices of eating and the living style? This lifestyle has to become in such a way that we are very clear. A routine, that's why in earlier days, I think they believed in, do you all agree with me that stress and the counseling and the psychology and all were not there in the 2 decades ago? Do you agree with me? When I studied, there was no counselor in the school. And we never had, psychology was not popular also like this, the way it is popular now. Because so is the demand, so is the supply. The supply has become now, so everybody is running towards psychology because they know their career will be good. A lot of people are going to get stressed, so we will be having a good, future. That's what they think. So we never had that. So that is something very beautifully we can bring in, is get our children get into a very, very beautiful routine of a daily good habits. I tell you, half the job will be done. Half of our mental issues will be done. Every day taking regular bathing, maybe twice a bathing, and cleaning your oneself properly, and also having good habits of everyday morning, going for a walk or eating right, eating well, breathing properly. See, breathing properly does, when you're angry or agitated, when you're stressed, all stressed, do you agree, Ria? Stressed people have faster breathing. They don't breathe to
Yes.
full capacity of
Yes.
the lung.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the breathing is the fundamental. So that's why the ancient days, they taught that is to start with. Pranayama was taught to children. How many of us are teaching pranayama to children? Think about it. How many of us practice pranayama? Every day, 5 minutes before coming to school, sit and do some pranayama for ourselves. So we have a sound. Every day we come with some pain here, some ache here, some this thing. Stomach is not all right, acid reflex, and 101 issues. You cannot have a healthy mind. So first, I think physical we need to attend. And then, like she said very beautifully, understand what is the issue in your own school. Talk to children, conduct issues as they go into adolescent age. Find out how often they are meeting, how often it is there. If parents are a problem, talk to them. It's a holistic approach that we have to take for a whole development. Thank you, Ria, so much.